Secretary to President Clinton. Marc Thiessen, columnist for the Washington Post and a Fox News contributor. Gentlemen, good day to both of you. Okay, Marc, start now. Is President Trump doing something that is different from President Obama? Take that point first.
Not at all. I mean, this is fake news. The people are treating this like this is some kind of unprecedented border action that we're taking, enforcement action. The fact is, Barack Obama deported more people than any president in American history. In fact, Barack Obama deported more illegal aliens than all the presidents in the 20th century combined. He deported between 2009 and 2015 2.5 million illegal aliens. That's an average of 1,000 a day during the course of his presidency. And that does not include the people who self-deported. That doesn't include the people who were stopped at the border and turned away. And it doesn't include the last year of his administration. When those figures come in, it'll actually be even higher. So there is nothing that President Trump is doing today that is a break from what Barack Obama did. But all of a sudden, the Democrats are up in arms about it. Disturbed about this.
Harsh words toward the President Obama at the time. Now, David, we are told that these are all moms and maids. Now, you know that's not true.
You know, I actually want to agree with something Marc said. He's absolutely right. A casual observer coming to this would say President Obama did a ton of enforcement and deportations, as my colleague says, the most in history. So what is the difference here? And I think the only way to really answer that is not to look at this issue in a vacuum. You have to look at last night's resignation of the National Security Advisor. You have to look at all the judges across America, Republicans and Democratic appointees, who have overturned and blocked President Trump's actions on immigration. I think what we really have here is a crisis of confidence in the president. Nobody really believes right now anything this president says. It's not holding up. The fake news, if you will, is what's coming out of the White House. We don't believe him anymore.
Here are the numbers now. According to ICE, the raids last week, 680 posed a threat to public safety, border security, or U.S. immigration system. Of those arrested, about 75% were criminal aliens and convicted of crimes including homicide, sexual assault, and drug trafficking. O'Reilly's big point, Marc, is that those facts have been underreported. Is that true?
They absolutely have been underreported. And again, they're not a break with the past. You know, they're saying that this is an unprecedented enforcement action, that there's 680 people. In 2015, Barack Obama rounded up 2,000 people, 3.5 times in just a period of 5 days in a single raid. They say that Barack Obama only targeted criminal aliens. That's not true. In 2016, he launched something called Operation Border Guardian that targeted all illegal immigrants that had come into the country in the last 2 years and deported thousands of women and children from the country.
Can I jump in?
So there's no difference here. And in terms of telling the truth, Donald Trump campaigned on saying he's going to do this. He's doing exactly what he said, so I don't know why you think people can't believe it.
Marc, if I may, it's an issue of incompetence out of this White House. No one's disputing your figures. I'm not. I haven't heard anybody in any journalistic outlet anywhere dispute those figures. There's a crisis in confidence in this president. His National Security Advisor, who oversaw immigration enforcement, by the way, had to resign and may be criminally liable. His own executive orders have been blocked by Republican judges. There is a crisis in confidence in this president, in his ability to do the job.
So, David,
you may be right about this.
David, you approve, a president should have the ability, hang on one second, Marc, should have the ability and the authority to remove violent criminals.
Absolutely.
Because
no dispute.
Without that, you can't have a country, right?
Absolutely. No dispute. Like I said, President Obama did this as well. It would be very hypocritical for me to say it's wrong when President Trump does it, but it's right when President Obama does it. It's the law of the land. Enforcing the law is probably the #1 role of the executive. Let's all agree on that. Why then do you see so much concern in communities across the country about what the president does? To me, the only way you have an effective president is when people trust the president. When the president loses the trust of the population, then you get things like this, where even if he's just doing his job, people don't trust him.
There was a big impression given that these were not criminal aliens that were being arrested.
I'm reading the same news. I'm reading the same news you are.
Yeah, I got you guys, but you get the impression from a lot of outlets, and I've got to run here. We'll continue it in a moment.
I don't get that impression.
But you get the impression that they're ripping families apart, and if you look at the numbers, 75% are violent criminals. David, thank you for your time today. Marc, thank you as well.
Thank you, Bill.